Story 1. If he pulls a blade, you run. You will get cut. The thing about a knife fight is that you will take a few cuts. The idea is to minimize the size of the cut and its location. Take a cut on an area with very little muscle, fat, or exposed arteries. The outside of the arm is perfect for this. The human body is designed to keep valuable systems protected. So keep your chin tucked to protect the neck and don't expose the insides of your legs. Sometimes you can't run or you may need to defend others who can't. Plan on getting cut. The cuts will heal with medical attention. It's going to hurt and will be very messy. Try to disarm the attacker by sidestepping a thrust and capturing the arm with the blade. A simple headbutt to the nose with your forehead and then use your arm that is on the attacker's blade side to follow their arm down to grab the wrist. Step back while twisting the wrist down and towards the assailant to either force the blade into them or make them drop it. If they are adept at using a blade in a fight, they won't thrust it at you. They will sweep it across your face first and then the chest and stomach in the form of a letter Z. Use your arms to block them if they get close. If they miss, once the bladed arm is across the attacker's body, step forward into them, keeping the bladed arm level with your side. The attacker's opposite shoulder should be even with yours. Slide your hand down the attacker's arm and grab the wrist. Do not twist it. Keep it close to the attacker's body. Go for another headbutt or try to swing the attacker's body around you so you can get them in a headlock or kick the back of their knees, causing them to drop. Your best bet, though, still, is to run. Armed fights are quick and messy and tend to favor the more violent person. I'm no quote-unquote expert, so take my advice with a grain of salt. I want everyone to realize that trying to be a will get you slain or seriously injured. Someone trying to take your wallet while brandishing a weapon is probably not concerned with your well-being. Do not think that reading this will help you. Please be safe. I also don't want people to think I'm some kind of hooligan. I will run from a fight before I throw a punch. Now, if I'm cornered or protecting my family, I will most definitely take a blade to the gut before letting someone harm my kids or my wife. So please, just don't be a hero. A few credit cards can be replaced and no one ever got called a pansy for backing down from a weapon-wielding attacker. Story 2. Disclaimer, I have written these tips as a guide for those defending themselves against attack. I do not condone violence or the use of these techniques to cause physical harm to anyone who doesn't deserve it. I also don't wish to start a martial arts argument, but for experience purposes, I've been a practitioner of Wing Chun Kung Fu for 4 years, and though I have only used my martial arts in one real street fight, I have avoided countless others by simply remaining calm. For comparison purposes, I'm 5'11" and I weigh 152 pounds, so I'm not a big guy. A few things to remember, especially when the panic of a fight is on your mind. Play the victim. Shout loudly that you're being attacked and yell for help even as you start or end the fight. People who see you as the victim are less likely to point you out to bouncers, police, or hitmen, and more likely to even protect you and vouch for you. Most average Joes will, if they've squared up to you, push you away before they throw the first punch. If you're not ready for this, it'll take you off balance and put you at a disadvantage right away. If you think a fight is going to happen, keep your arms above your waist. Grab your lapels, Bane style, cross your arms lightly, and make sure they are above your waist. This makes it easier to bring them up to your defense. The first punch, as mentioned, will likely be a huge haymaker of a swing aimed directly at your jaw or temple. These are usually easy to step into and block if you're confident enough, or to simply avoid by stepping back. If you can't escape, then escape. There's no telling how many of his or her friends may be around coming to the rescue or to grab and attack you. As for actually dealing damage and general fighting tactics, a punch to the head, fist clenched, is very likely to break one or more of your knuckles if you haven't got the technique right. The jaw and the temple are very hard parts of the skull. A palm strike, hitting with the base of your palm, can deal similar or greater damage and increases the chance of you rocking the head, causing a knockout. Similarly, your first aim should be to attack the opponent in an efficient manner. Keep calm and focus on landing simple, accurate shots at vulnerable parts of the body. The nose, eye sockets, groin, and throat are all great targets for causing pain and shocking your opponent. This will more than likely reduce his will to fight too. Kicks should be avoided except for quick stamps to areas like the knees, shins, or feet. If you have the time and the space for something larger, maintain form. The last thing you want to do is end up on the ground because you couldn't kick properly and fell over. If you're in a corner and facing down a group of people, you go in and you go in hard. I haven't done this, but a member of my club stopped a group mugging because he obliterated the first 2 guys to attack him. In short, if these guys want to hurt you, they may want to end you. So don't show them the courtesy of mercy, but always remember the law of equal force. If a man tries to knock you out, you can't simply break his arms and say it was self-defense. If someone comes at you with the blade, you are going to get cut. The sooner you realize this, the better. Do not attempt to take the blade by blocking with your forearms or hands. There is a high risk of deep lacerations and a lot of mess, which will probably make you nauseous, if not make you dizzy in the long run. As with many fight situations, if you can run, then run fast and hard. I won't try to give you any advice on how to disarm a man with a blade. It is beyond my experience, and in truth, there is no quote-unquote surefire method to stop you from being hurt. One thing is certain though, try to gain control of the hand the blade is in. These fights stop being fistcuffs and become more of who can get the blade competition. But please see above. If you can escape, then please do so. Confidence can be the key to stopping a fight before it begins. Bear in mind that there is a difference between confidence and cockiness. Squaring up to someone is just some macho BS that won't frighten anyone. Do you know what will happen? Deadpan, calm, collected, with a guard at the ready. Even if you don't know how to properly put one up, a simple lead hand and backhand combo should show you know how to punch. I've had occasions where simply refusing to rise to the bait and standing ready has unnerved people into not starting anything at all. Defense tips? You're smarter than the average Joe, or someone who is wise in martial arts may try to take you off guard immediately. This will come in the form of a quick strike, not unlike what I wrote above. In these cases, you need to recognize who they may be and guard yourself accordingly. Luckily, most people will try haymakers, some wild kick to your behind that's there for pure show, and just grab onto you and wrestle. It's said that 90% of street fights end up on the ground. While this may be true, it is only because the opponents have allowed it. I'm not saying if you come up against a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt, you can avoid going to the ground. Far from it. If someone grabs you and tries to pull you to the floor, center your balance, plant your feet, and let them have it. They'll be busy trying to drag you down, so why not reward them with a few strikes to the ribs, face, head, and neck? If you are knocked to the ground for any reason, look for the next opportunity to get up, but do not immediately throw yourself to your feet. Fists, boots, and all sorts can and will come crashing down on you. If you're getting beaten on and there is no chance of you getting out, you curl up, be in a fetal position, and throw your arms around your head. Protect your head at all costs. The rest of your body will take quite a beating, but a stamp on your head can cause a horrific list of things. Weapons, being a Brit, I don't have to deal with this as a very real scenario, but it goes the same way as blades. If someone is going to shoot you, they probably will. In these situations, usually muggings, etc., just give them what they want. Some plastic, a couple £100 or dollars, and a mobile are worth far less than your life. Remember that. The rule of equal force. One important and final thing I mentioned was the rule of equal force earlier. Simply put, I'm not a lawyer, so please don't quote me on this. Things will go a lot smoothly if, in your defense, you act with the same or a lower amount of force. If a man attacks you with a knife and you knock him out, self-defense. If a man attacks you with a knife, you disarm him, then proceed to him, assault. In scenario 2, you made the conscious decision to attack your opponent after being attacked yourself. You therefore become the aggressor and you look worse off. Similarly, if you knock your opponent to the ground, do not start kicking, stamping, or attacking them in any way. This is seen as an attack on someone who is helpless. Now, about aiming for the mouth, that is risky, but if the opportunity arises, a palm strike to the front of the teeth will shatter them. I have struck someone in the mouth and received cuts in my hand. It's part and parcel with the sparring that we do. As long as you get it checked and cleaned, it's fine. I'm not going to let it fester. All the same, I'll leave it out if people are so bothered by it. For those who think that the jaw and temple aren't very hard parts of the body, it is true that a well-aimed strike will easily perform major damage when aimed there. However, a wild swing with no technique or a panicky strike may end up doing more damage in the long term. I know many people who have broken hands and knuckles this way. Wow, awesome tips. Hopefully, I'll never have to use them. Now, if you think these tips are useful, the tip in Story 4 is both useful and practical. Story 3. If there's any chance you can avoid it, period. Run away. Being viewed as a punk is way better than reconstructive surgery. If you absolutely, positively cannot avoid it, rule number 1, cheat. If you can hit them with something and run like hell, do that. Bite, headbutt, whatever, grab an ear and poke an eye, do what you have to do. People will give you advice about how to throw punches, conserve your strength, and mind your surroundings, but you're not Bruce Lee. You will panic. Your fight will probably be over very soon. The person who hit you isn't interested in engaging in gentlemanly fisticuffs. He's overflowing with rage and wants to do as much damage as possible before someone intervenes. He wants to hurt you, but don't let him. Protect yourself. So keep going. But it's better to lawyer up and tell your public defender, I was scared for my life and defending myself, than to hear a doctor murmur, you'll never look the same, over your bed. And run, like run. You never know how many more are in his crew, and people who start fights rarely start them alone. You never know how far he's going to go, or they, when he gets started on you. And every second you spend running is a second they're not messing up your delicate parts. And every second you run is an extra second for someone to intervene. Bartender, bouncer, family member, your buddy, a cop, a priest, a cheerleader, whoever. A fight may be just a few punches thrown, or it may be a lot worse. You won't know until it's over. It's better to never find out. Story 4. Bear. Nobody wants to fight the weird bear guy. Undressed guys or guys taking a whiz are dangerous. The most precious thing in his world, his junk, is vulnerable, so he'll abandon all reason and fight like a crazy sob to protect it. One of the captains I served with in the military took a year out before he joined and lived in Nepal. The school he worked at as a teacher got charged by the local militia, and he came running down the hall from his dorm, completely bare, screaming at them at the top of his voice. Apparently, they ran screaming that there was a white devil in the school. The only problem is that it takes time, precious time in which your enemy will probably knock you down. So be extra careful when removing your pants, because that moment when they are down but still around your ankle is your most vulnerable point. Story 5. Number 1. Always give your fists nicknames. These nicknames should sound like those of Irish boxers from the Prohibition era. For example, mine are Jimmy O'Legady and Ricky Ryan. Make your opponent aware of your fists' names at the earliest opportunity to ensure maximum intimidation. Number 2. Move around your opponent in an anti-clockwise direction. This direction will make you harder to target. Science. Number 3. Kick them in the beanbag. Never be ashamed of this tactic. You're fighting on the streets and street rules apply. The beanbag is not off limits. This should show the enemy incapacitated and you victorious. Number 4. Victory. Revel in your victory and take your pick of whichever lady in a 1-mile radius you like the look of. They're now your property. I've yet to find mine. If you're interested to know more tips like this, please do hit that like button and subscribe to my channel. It really helps me out. Thank you. Story 6. Don't put your hands in front of your face. You need to be able to see. Don't kick, you'll get your behind handed to you. Kicks are a gamble, unless they are already down, at which point I recommend leaving. Follow the advice of dodging. Fighting is incredibly tiring. Let them wear themselves out first. Aim your blows. Hit their nose. Why? Because it waters like a and blinds them. And as mentioned, fight dirty. Use your environment. Don't ever back up. Circle. Try to control the stage. It allows you to see where you are moving to. It lowers the chances of you tripping or surprising yourself with a wall in the back. It helps to open up options to use your environment in your favor. Ever played Tekken? Circling or sidestepping, especially after they overbalance, provides great openings to deal serious damage. Avoid talking. Keep your breath. Set goals. Have an end game. Also, find a pretty girl and wink at her. Good luck. Story 7. Ex-bouncer here, 10+ years of various martial arts training. If you're inexperienced or outsized, if you have anything at all in your hands, even an empty cup, throw it at them as if you were tossing someone their car keys. Don't throw it to injure, just lob it at them. They will instinctively try to catch it, and then use that moment to strike. In the nose, hard as you can, or face in general. And whatever you do, don't stop. Fight dirty. Rules are for sporting competition. In survival, you use anything at your disposal, dirt, car keys, etc. But be careful introducing weapons into the equation. You always have to worry about losing it and having it come back your way. Unless it's totally fight to the death, there's no sane reason to turn a fist fight into a blade fight. Now, if you're more experienced, get in close and headbutt them. Use the crown of your forehead and again push through the target. This move is seldom anticipated and can break a nose pretty quickly. My signature move is a hip check to throw them off and then slip around behind for the choke. Chokes are great for bigger opponents. Even giants are no competition to that. Now, talkers usually don't fight. It's the quiet ones you need to watch out for. Laugh and smile as much as possible. Nothing infuriates someone more than laughing and smiling during a fight. Furious people make stupid mistakes. Yeah, I agree with that second to the last bit of advice. The silent ones are the fighters you gotta watch out for. Story 8. If you are in a fight, always assume it's to the death. No rules, your opponent won't have any either. Eyes, throat, nuts, and the often overlooked kneecap are the quickest ways to incapacitate an opponent briefly so that you can escape. Keep moving and circle if you have room. Also, be aware of who they're with. Try to avoid having tunnel vision. You might beat one, but if he's not alone, expect his boys to be on the honor code of also trying to whip your behind for the privilege. Most importantly, just get out of there. Even if it's self-defense and clearly winnable in court, it isn't worth the hassle. Lawyers, time, and effort are a pain. Screw that crap. Story 9. Something else I haven't seen people mention is hard versus soft. Things like a fist, an elbow, a knee, and a forehead are all examples of hard objects. The head is a hard target. The nose is kind of soft, but a punch can still leave you hurt. A headbutt to the nose, on the other hand, is devastating. Things like a hammer fist or a palm strike or even an open-handed slap are examples of soft. Don't ever go hard versus hard if you can help it. This is how you get injured. In a fight situation, punching someone in the head is a pretty bad idea. If you connect with a good punch, you risk breaking bones in your hand or wrist, leaving that hand useless. Using a palm strike or even just an open hand, you can knock people out if you slap them with the palm and not the fingers, is a much better approach. Landing a solid blow using a hammer fist can really deal someone with some hurt while leaving you good to go. Hard versus soft? It's a good way to go. If your attacker is male, always try for the groin shot. If you want to throw punches, go for the body. Knocking the wind out of someone is a good way to gain an extreme advantage over your opponent. A kidney shot can hurt someone as well. Eyeballs are also a great target. Keep clear of their mouth though. Getting bit is bad news. Now soft versus hard, this is where your palm strikes, hard lady slaps, and hammer fists to the face and head come into play. It is tough to not make a fist, but don't take yourself out of the fight. The last option is soft versus soft. In most cases, you want to avoid this. It won't leave you injured, but it probably won't do much more than irritate the other person. Soft versus soft is very effective in the groin area, just hit them hard. Example, slapping, soft, someone in the stomach, soft, might leave a red handprint, but not much more. Oh man, I didn't know fighting involves a lot of brain work just to figure out the best way to strike combination. Story 10. Clench your teeth. This will protect you from breaking your jaw or your teeth. Breathe through your nose, clench teeth, tongue on the roof of the mouth. What's more important than protecting you from a broken jaw or tooth is the fact that you won't bite off your own tongue. Seriously, if you bite off your own tongue, you will get in trouble. Don't do it. It could even be a friend of yours you were messing around with. Just don't bite off your own tongue. Story 11. Stay calm. I've heard that the fighter with the lower heart rate wins the fight more often than not. If you're going to start it or escalate it, don't start with a soft punch or push. Start with a full punch or attack. Punch straight, no roundhouses, jab with the non-dominant hand, follow with the other. If it's a really serious situation, go for the eyes. My dad always told me if I'm ever in a fight and I truly fear for my life, punch in the throat and kick in the nuts if I can't run. Pride isn't worth dying for in a street fight. However, unless you are prepared to potentially end a man, you do not aim for the head unless you know what you're doing. A good shot to the bridge of the nose or the temple can be instant end sometimes. Story 12. Don't fall. Whatever you do, stay on your feet. If you cannot avoid getting knocked to the ground, grab some dirt and throw it in their eyes to avoid getting the crap kicked out of you. However, if you are the one starting the fight, stop being a dirtbag and disregard what I said previously. Story 13. My father was a Marine. He said the first rule of hand-to-hand combat is never to use your hands. Try and avoid a fair fight, you might lose a fair fight. Carry something and use it without moderation if you actually need to. You'll probably never need to. Hey, I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you made it this far, I'm sure you'll also enjoy People Share Best You Underestimate My Power moments that, well, actually worked. Story 5 is absolutely amazing. See you in that video, and thank you for watching this one.